Hi, everyone. This is Wisala Care, working with the Tulane Center for Clinical Research. And today I'm talking to Dr. Quincy Brown, one of our very prominent PIs that we've worked with for years. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time and allowing us to talk to you.
Yes,
To
my
just
pleasure.
be part of your journey for so long. We're very honored to be part of that journey.
My pleasure. Yeah.
So the first question is, when you had your pilot study, what was the reason for you to come to the CTU? It was called the CTU at the
CTU back
time.
then, yeah.
Yeah, and now it's TCCR. What was the reason for you to use our services at the time?
Yeah. So we had been using coordinator support inside one of the clinical departments downtown, which was great. But I think one of the things that TCCR offers, CTU back then, now TCCR offers, is really sort of everything from the beginning to the end of the process, right? So not only could you provide coordinator support in terms of patient consent and sort of handling specimens and those types of things, but really I could go to CTU or TCCR and you could help me with IRB protocol development all the way through to getting those approved, managing the IRB once it's approved, all the submissions and amendments, and then the coordinator support, which obviously you were a part of in terms of getting patients consented, managing all of the documentation, all the regulatory compliance, going to the OR, getting the sample, bringing it to the lab, taking it to pathology afterward, sometimes some late nights, and just really sort of everything that's related to sort of managing the clinical study. Really, I can do through TCCR, and I don't, for us, if I were to have to go out and hire my own clinical support staff, that would be difficult, right? And so I think that you guys really provide a great service with a lot of people who really know what they're doing, understand the Tulane system well. So that's why we switched to working with you guys and haven't looked back.
We talked about the services in general, but what was specific that we provided that helped you accomplish the goals for your pilot study?
Right. So, we're an engineering lab, and so we're developing new technologies. We're validating those in clinical specimens, but we're not trained in clinical research in terms of how do we go consent patients? How do we, even just, develop the right, documentation around that? How do we manage that documentation? Interacting with, everything from going through the schedule and finding patients who fit the criteria to then going to talk to them. So for us, it allowed us to focus on the science, allowed us to focus on making a better device, and for us to know that everything was being done properly in terms of the IRB and clinical management, and then also having the support of people who really just, did everything but the imaging, and actually we help with the imaging sometimes, but sort of bringing us the specimen, making sure that chain of custody of the specimen was taken care of, everything was accounted for and got to where it needed to be, because these are very precious clinical samples. And so again, just everything that helped us to make sure that the study was done properly and efficiently.
So now that we got the pilot done, now that you work for the new grant that you got, and all the funding and everything, how did we help you to get to the point that you got to now with the new proposal and grant that you wrote?
Yeah, so the data that we collected as part of this pilot study, I could say a pilot, it was almost 200 patients. So over 10 years, it was a significant study. Was really the preliminary data that we used to help us secure this funding. So it demonstrated that not only did we have the right kind of technology, but we know how to execute in the clinic, right? And that's very difficult for those who aren't involved in clinical research of this kind. Maybe it's harder to appreciate, but for those who have, showing that you've been able to recruit 180 patients into a clinical study demonstrates that you know how to execute in the clinic. And so basically your facilitation of that, made it, a very strong case that not only had we done it, but we could do it in the future going forward. So certainly during the development of the proposal, was in contact with you, knew we were going to be working with you going forward. And then even since we found out that we'd be receiving the funding, I have continued to work with you on development of protocols for the new clinical site at East Jefferson General Hospital. And that's been a huge help because we'll be able to hit the ground running in terms of the clinical study at EJ. I'm sorry, and then through the rest of this project, we'll be continuing to be partnering with you in terms of everything that we just talked about.
What would you like to say to other PIs that work at the biomedical engineering department or other departments at Tulane or other clinical PIs?
Yeah.
What would you like to tell them to encourage them to collaborate with us for their studies?
Yeah, so I'm a big TCCR evangelist, and so I tell everybody, if you're doing clinical research, you need to be working with these folks. Really, it's not, why wouldn't you? I think that, again, it allows you to focus on the things that you're good at, allows them to focus on the things that they're good at, and gives you peace of mind, and just the execution is excellent. And so, for me, it's not a question. And in fact, I've talked to PIs at other institutions who've struggled with these kinds of things, and say, oh, we're really lucky we have this great unit that really takes good care of us. And so yeah, I don't. It's really about why wouldn't you? If you're doing clinical research at Tulane, I don't know why you wouldn't partner with TCCR.
So we're so happy to provide those services, providing them, and hopefully, for people who are seeing this video right now, if you would like to learn more about our services, please contact our Senior Director, Eva Lastigova, or contact our Assistant Director, Cindy Morrow. They would be very happy to answer your questions, or you can actually just shoot us a DM. And I'll be the person to answer you, but hopefully to connect you to the right team member, to ask questions about your study, even if you have questions about how the study could be starting from scratch. We're able to help you go through all the steps, even from starting to write the protocol, all the way to starting to recruit patients, or finding the right location for patient recruitment, and all of those questions.